Hi everyone, welcome back to Lifting the Lamp. I'm doing another video today where I'm demonstrating a simple tarot spread. So in my last video, I showed you a simple 2-card spread. This time I'm doing a 3-card spread, past, present and future. So this kind of reading can be good if there's a specific type of a circumstance in some area of life and you want to get a detailed reading on how that circumstance is going to evolve or develop. And so this 3-card spread is a great simple spread to learn if you want to learn tarot, along with the 2-card spread. So I'll teach that to you now. So in the 3-card spread, the first card, the leftmost card, is the past position. This obviously shows you what has happened in the past, but it's a bit more complicated than that, because when we think about the past, we think that we know the past, but in fact we don't. There can be factors or situations or causes to a present circumstance which we're not aware of, which gave rise to the present circumstances, or we just haven't acknowledged it. And so all of those unacknowledged, unknown factors in the past can be uncovered using this kind of tarot spread and can help us to better understand how the present came to being in the first place. The next positioning, the middle positioning, is the present position. This is just the current circumstance, the current state of play. But once you have the past card, it can be very interesting to see what card follows that in the present, to see the specific way that the past has developed. And then of course there's the future card, which is the most predictive card out of a 3 tarot spread. This is the one that's going to give you a prophecy, so to speak. Now with the future placement, sometimes it can represent a decision, because sometimes the future card will show you the consequence of a decision that you are going to make in the future. And if that is the case, then you can alter that future by making a different decision. However, sometimes the future card will show you a circumstance which you cannot change, in which case it can serve as a warning if it's a negative situation, or give you something to look forward to if it's a positive change. But whatever the case may be, by knowing that in advance, you can be pre-warned and you can preempt that change in situation before it happens. And of course, the future card will be the development of the past and the present card. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate a 3-card spread now. There's other details that you'd want to know if you've just started off in reading tarot, but I cover that in my first video where I demonstrate a 2-card spread, so you might want to look at that if you haven't already. Otherwise, let's jump straight into the 3-card spread. So, once again, I'm using my trusty old Rider-Waite deck. I was thinking about what I can ask the cards. I was initially going to ask about what the situation with my attempts at building a social media presence on YouTube and elsewhere is going to look like now and in the future. But given recent political events in the US, namely the overturning of Roe versus Wade, this seems like a very significant world event which I would like to get more insight into. And one thing that I've noticed as I've observed people's reactions on social media to these developments is the level of upset and anger that a lot of people feel. And it seems to me that the Supreme Court justices who have made this decision and the politicians who put them there to make that decision or to pass legislation in states which comes into effect as a result of that decision, perhaps underestimated how much opposition there would be to these changes. So that seems like a circumstance that it would be good to understand more. And so the thing that I'm going to ask tonight is about the state of play with the political and religious forces in the US that have been responsible for the overturning of Roe versus Wade, and what their future prospects look like now that they have overturned this landmark decision? What is the political consequence going to be, and the social consequence going to be for them in particular for having made this decision come about? So let's jump into it. I'm clearing the deck again as before. I want to get true answers to all of my questions in this reading. Okay, so once again, I'm going to clear the deck. I want true answers to all questions for this particular question. I want accurate answers to all questions regarding this particular reading, this particular issue. Now I'm going to shuffle the deck again, as before. Okay. And I'm going to split the deck. Now the cards are ready. Okay. As with the previous reading, I'm going to be guided by my intuition to pick 3 cards in particular. Past, present, future. And as with the last video, I will not be doing reverse meanings. I'll only be doing the initial meaning. Okay, so here we go. Here is our 3 cards. The past is the 2 of Cups. This is a card which is very reminiscent of marriage. It is the harmonious, balanced relationship between male and female. So I would say that given what the reading is concerning, this card is telling us what society was more like before the decision of Roe versus Wade was overturned. That's not to say that it was necessarily a perfectly equal society, but there was a lot more social harmony between the masculine and the feminine polarity. And these cards were designed at a time where there wasn't as much awareness about gender fluidity and gender non-binary identifying people. I might consult my book to get an additional reading of these cards. We'll see how we go. The present. Oh, I mean, that is just a perfect description of what so many people are feeling right now. This is the Nine of Swords. This is utter misery. This is welcome to the nightmare. I mean, it's really the way that a lot of people are feeling right now, and it's not a very hopeful card at all. It's pain and suffering. I mean, the whole suit of the swords is very brutal. I don't really think there's very many at all that are positive, but I think the Nine of Swords is probably the worst. I mean, the Ten of Swords, the figure in the card is completely dead, pierced through by 10 swords, but at least their pain is over. With the Nine of Swords, it's, you know, they're right in the midst of the greatest period of suffering. So yeah, it's for people who see the overturning of this law as an attack on their human rights and their bodily autonomy. this card really encapsulates how they're feeling right now, how they must be feeling. Now it's actually really sad to see that card. It's because I know how much pain and suffering is embodied in that card. So although I said that this was a reading on the people who brought the law about, it's starting to look a lot more like it's a general reading on the state of society as a result of these changes. And sometimes the cards will do that. They will give you a slightly different answer to what you asked, or they'll answer a different question to what you asked. So finally, let's look at the future placement. Well, the 10 of Pentacles. The 10 of Pentacles, or the 10 of Discs, shows an old man at the end of his life, and he's accomplished everything that he wanted to accomplish, but he's spent. He's a spent man. There's no more life left in him. There's nothing more that he can do. So my intuition, and life goes on without him. And look, the man and the woman are talking to each other, and they seem happy. They don't seem to be in conflict. They seem to be returning to a state here which represents a state where people in society are in greater harmony with each other, and there's no animosity that's based on gender-related issues. And although the figure here of the old man dominates the card, he's actually the most irrelevant, because everything that's important that's happening doesn't involve him and is passing him by. And the only ones who are taking an interest in him are the dogs. So to me, that says that the forces that have been responsible for the changes that we've seen over the past couple of days are the old man. And they might seem like they are the ones who have triumphed in terms of the present, but as far as the future is concerned, they represent a way of life, and they represent attitudes towards other people, and attitudes towards social issues which are in their last days. They are the fact that there is the 10 of discs. This is like the fulfillment of material success. This is the apex of material success or power. So what that suggests, and the fact that it is following a 9 card as well. It's the natural progression, numerically speaking. But from the point of view of the people who are most affected from this Lord's law, it's not this law being overturned. It's not a source of material gain at all, but a source of pain and suffering. But this shows once somebody is at an apex of its power, once an empire or a corporation or a religion is at the height of its power, it has nowhere else to go but down. Everything moves in cycles, and reaching maturation and your golden years and the best days in terms of how much power and influence you have is quickly followed by a decline. So by doing this spread, I've demonstrated how you can find patterns in the cards. I've seen a 9 followed by a 10 here. I've noticed the 2 figures here. Yeah, if you want to get some additional meaning, you can consult a book, as I said. Sometimes reading further into the cards from another source doesn't really help. Sometimes it's better to just follow your intuition. But perhaps you've got your own reading or interpretation into what this spread means, what it says for the past, present, or the future in terms of the current political situation in the US. And I hope you found this useful as a demonstration of how to do a 3-card reading. So thanks again for listening. Feel free to leave your comments down below. Otherwise, please hit that subscribe button to support my work. I'll see you next time.